Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Awake, my soul. Awake, my soul. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Awake, my soul. Awake, my soul. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Boker Tov, good morning. Another sunny day, another day full of allergies, another day where the forecast says rain in the evening, another day. God gives us days. We don't know the number of days we'll get. And we try to figure out what will be the best of each day. And often we wake up and we're miserable before the day even starts because we're still carrying that which was yesterday's burden, right? We just leave it at the door, but it's still here. And so, Elohai neshama shenatata bi is reminding us that the soul that we have is pure. We start over each and every day. And sometimes our souls start purer or cleaner than our neighbor, anybody around us, anybody else other than us, anybody on the outside. And sometimes we don't feel pure at all. Sometimes we just feel so burdened, so schmutzed up, so ugh. And so many of us have our own schmutz for lots of reasons. Some which is, the garbage that goes on in the world. Some of which is the worry that is for our people, for our land. Some of which is our own health things, family health things. Some of it is the anger at government. Some of it is at humanity. Some of it is at the inability for people to just do what they're supposed to do. Some of it is for the feeling of those that are not seen or marginalized. Some of it is self-inflicted and some of it isn't. And so when we're reminded Elohai neshama shenatata bi, it's like the second, third, fourth thing maybe that is said after modeh, moda, odeh, ani lefanecha, that we are grateful that we're restored. And then we need a reminder, hey, wait a second, we're restored. And let's remind ourselves of that pureness that we were given, which is our soul. The thumbprint or the essence of our own soul is unique to us. In this week's Torah portion, it's like a tag team. There are a few times a year where there are Torah portions that can be linked together, called double portions. And then there'll be a year that will come where they'll be split apart. And so when they're split apart, it's kind of like, I already talked about this last week, because they're the reason that they're together, not only to fit in the amount of weeks in the calendar, but they are coupled. They are hand in hand with one another. And so it's a continuation of this Lashon Hara, this evil speech or hateful tongue, and what the skin affliction of Miriam was because she talked negatively about her brother's wife, and the skin infection or affliction that was pushing her, but pushing outside. That there was a camp, and it was like, you're in the inner circle or you're in the outer circle. It's no different than friendship circles. Hey, wait a minute, these are my people. These people, not so much. They're not my kind of people. And with Pesach coming very quickly, rapidly approaching, we're thinking about the purity. Our soul is pure. Yet in this week's Parsha, we're talking about when the soul isn't really pure because we've done something not great. And so on the outside, we don't look good. It's like I have a friend and colleague that says, this person is a really great person. But when they act in this particular way, they become ugly. Very similar to Torah that teaches exactly that. When you are good on the inside, it shows on the outside. When you're coming from a place of yuck, then guess what? On the outside, you also look yuck. So the potential for healing, the potential for realizing that, pureness takes work, right? Everything takes work. Every relationship, every marriage, every conversation, everything that we do takes work. Otherwise, we would just be little robots running around. Nobody would have a purpose. No one would be better at this or not so good at this. No one would help each other. You wouldn't have to because you would just be robotic. But the potential for healing, the potential for betterment is that which is implanted in humankind. So if we are all unique individuals, then our own impurity is unique to ourselves. The impurity that was seen in Miriam and others was shown in the form of outward problem, right? It was a skin infection. And they were pushed outside. When Jews were in Egypt, they were slaves. They weren't like Egyptians. They were pushed aside. When Jews finally arrived in Israel, it was their place. And for years and for years and for years and what feels like centuries, they're trying to push us aside. And so as we are coming towards Pesach, we're thinking about the purity of our own selves and in our own people. And when we are angry at what goes on in the world, sometimes our anger shows up in ugly ways. Since the beginning of time, I think humankind, human nature, is attached, akin to light, to generosity, to an energy that flows as a vehicle between themselves and God, and then God and themselves, and all of those that are around us. That we are one whole community. If one is hurt, then we're all hurting. And I feel that that's, for many of us, the heaviness of the burden of entering this time of year where miracles don't feel like they're coming. This time of year where we say, as we're reading the Haggadah, that we're supposed to say during Pesach that, once we were slaves and now we're free. And when I asked the questions of, students yesterday, 7th graders, 8th graders, mitzvah teens, as Jews, are we free? And the majority, I'm going to say, I think more than the majority, I think unanimously, it was, no, we're not free. Maybe I feel free as a person individually, but we're not free. The pureness of our soul is damaged because the heaviness of the world, the hate of the world, the toxicity of the world is upon us. How pure can we feel when we feel like cursing, when we feel like killing, when we feel like damaging another entity because we can't take it anymore? I imagine that that's what it felt like to Moses and the Israelites. Like, God, help us. Send some plague, send something, do something. Get us out of here. Bring them home versus let them be free. Free my people. Let them go. Let my people go. Parsha Metzorah, this week's Torah portion, reminds us that healers and teachers, spiritual leaders, literate and illiterate souls together have so much in common. They have the ability to be transformed. They have the ability to be on the outside but find their way back to the inside. They have the ability to be held, barred, chained, captive, and the potential to be full of life, to be able to teach, to be able to show up, to be able to change the narrative, the possibility, to affirm beauty and spirit. If we are awakened to recognizing that from each of our own perspectives, sometimes we feel limited, but in God's perspective, options are infinite. Which means it's not only that we're on the outside and we're going to be on the outside forever, which means we have to keep faithful. That says, you know what, we're out here right now. We feel like this is going nowhere, but we hang on. We hang on because things are curable, things are dealable, things are able to turn, things are able to resolve. It seems like there's no possibility. But if we don't hold on to some possibility, there will be no possibility. Our souls are pure. We need to reawaken them, even though they feel tarnished, even though they feel holy, not holy, spiritually holy, like with holes, with damage. We continue to lift up our own soul, to say, hey, wait a minute, awaken. Awaken in my chest, awaken in my being. I'm not giving up yet. I'm going to continue to push forward, to hope, to pray, to feel a sense of freedom, God willing, a miracle for us and for our people. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow again. As a reminder, our connection continues, but Tuesday night we will be together 7 or 7:30. That information will be forthcoming. I think 7 we're doing, maybe 7:30. There'll be an option for virtual Seder for anybody that is looking for a place to be. You can be sitting at our table. And 9:30 going forward, from Tuesday night going forward for 49 days, there will be Omer counting. So we hope that you will join us for that as we spiritually charge our batteries, recharge our batteries, as we wait for revelation of Torah, of internal joy that we can find within ourselves. Elohai neshama shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Awake, my soul. Awake, my soul. Elohai neshama shenatata bi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Am Yisrael chai, Am Yisrael chai. Od Avinu chai, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai.